Help me. She didn't say it. Couldn't say it. But her small hand, rising just inches from her pink dress, fingers forming the universal signal for danger, said it louder than any scream. In a parking lot full of oblivious shoppers, only one man understood. A man covered in tattoos and leather. A man most people crossed the street to avoid. Jack Razor Decker wasn't who anyone expected to be a hero that day. But then again, heroes rarely are. It all started on a late Sunday afternoon in Washington, D.C., where the Capitol Mall buzzed with the last-minute rush of weekend shoppers. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, cartwheels squeaked against polished tile, and somewhere near the food court, a child's laughter echoed off the high ceilings. The scene was ordinary, almost numbingly so. Families browsed the aisles, teenagers clustered near the gaming store, elderly couples moved slowly past the pharmacy. Among the crowd, nobody seemed to notice the little girl in the bright pink dress being pulled along by a man whose grip looked more like a vice than a father's hand. To a casual observer, they might have looked like any parent-child pair hurrying through errands. But to those who looked a little closer, to those who noticed her eyes, there was something deeply wrong. Her gaze wasn't curious or excited like other children's. It was vacant, controlled, and quietly terrified, as if she'd learned that making noise meant pain. As if she was screaming inside a soundproof room. The moment that would change everything happened in the cereal aisle. Jack Razor Decker, a patched member of the Hells Angels, had been passing through, his club brothers waiting outside, engines idling. He'd stopped in to grab water for the ride home when movement caught his peripheral vision. A small hand lifting in a way that didn't match any normal gesture a child would make. Her palm was open, thumb tucked into her palm, for fingers extended briefly in front of her chest. It was quick, subtle, and if Razor hadn't seen a viral post about child safety signals just weeks earlier, something he'd scrolled past at 2 a.m. during one of his sleepless nights, he might have dismissed it entirely. But he knew this gesture. It was the silent hand sign for "I'm in danger. Help me." His blood went cold. Viewers, if you believe that even the roughest people can choose to do good, that redemption isn't about where you've been but what you do when it matters most, then take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Because this story isn't just about one man noticing, it's about what happens when someone refuses to look away. And that choice might be the only thing standing between a child and a nightmare. Razor's instincts kicked in immediately. He didn't rush toward them. That could spook the man and escalate the danger. Instead, he slowed his stride, pretending to examine a shelf of protein bars while keeping the pair in his line of sight. The man gripping her wrist had weathered hands, a nervous energy radiating from his movements, and a gaze that swept the crowd every few seconds like a predator checking for threats. The girl didn't speak, didn't resist. She simply walked where he led, her small body moving on autopilot, her eyes darting occasionally toward strangers as if hoping one of them would see what Razor had seen. Razor pulled out his phone, thumb hovering over his cruise group chat. His mind calculated the angles. The man was moving toward the mall's west exit, the one that led directly to the parking garage. If he got her into a vehicle, she'd disappear. Razor had seen enough in his years riding with the club, enough dark corners of the world, to know exactly what happened to kids who disappeared. He sent the message, "West exit. Capitol Mall. No. Bring everyone." Within 90 seconds, the rumble began. 10 Harley engines roared to life outside, a sound that made shoppers pause and look toward the entrance. Razor kept moving, his boots silent despite their weight, his focus locked on the man and the girl. They were passing the electronics section now, moving faster. The man's grip tightened on her wrist, and Lily, though Razor didn't know her name yet, stumbled slightly, her little legs struggling to keep pace. The next few minutes stretched like hours. Razor trailed them past the home goods section, then toward the side corridor rarely used except by employees. His pulse hammered in his ears. If the man reached the parking garage before his crew surrounded the exits, this rescue could turn into a manhunt. He picked up his pace, boots now deliberately heavy enough to be heard, his presence intentional. The man glanced back once, eyes narrowing at the sight of the biker closing distance. Then came the moment Razor would replay in his mind for years. Just feet from the parking garage door, the man gripped the girl's arm brutally tight, yanking her forward. Lily cried out, a small, pained sound, and Razor moved. Not recklessly, but with the precision of someone who'd been in worse situations. His voice cut through the space between them, low and absolute. Let her go. Now. The man froze. The air between them crackled with potential violence. The girl's wide eyes darted between them, her breathing rapid and shallow. The man started to speak, stammering something about misunderstandings, about discipline, about rights. But Razor wasn't listening. Because through the glass doors behind the man, he could see them arriving. 10 bikers, leather-clad and stone-faced, forming a wall of chrome and muscle around every possible exit. The man saw them too. And in that moment, he understood. He'd made a terrible mistake thinking no one would notice. That no one would care. But someone had noticed. And now there was nowhere left to run. To understand how a Hell's Angel became the unlikely hero in a mall rescue, you have to understand who Jack Razor Decker was before that Sunday afternoon. If you're hooked in and you're ready to enjoy this story, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Because tomorrow, I will be giving you another story just as interesting as this one. And you don't want to miss it. Now back to the story. You have to go back to the scars he carried. The ones nobody could see. Razor had lost someone once. A younger sister, vanished at 14 from a gas station outside Phoenix. They never found her. That hollow ache taught him to recognize desperation in a child's eyes, the same look he'd just seen on this little girl's face. He couldn't call the cops. Not yet. Bureaucracy moved slow, and this man was moving fast. So Razor did what he knew best. He called his brothers. West Exit. Capitol Mall. Possible trafficking. Get here now, he texted. Fingers steady despite the adrenaline flooding his veins. The man was pulling the girl through the crowd now, weaving between shoppers with practiced ease. Razor followed 3 aisles over, using store displays as cover. His heart hammered against his ribs. Every second that passed felt like a countdown to something irreversible. The girl stumbled. The man yanked her upright, too rough, too impatient. Razor's jaw clenched. Hold on, kid. Just hold on. The roar came like thunder rolling across asphalt. 10 Harley-Davidsons thundered into the Capitol Mall parking lot, chrome glinting under the streetlights. Shoppers froze, hands shielding their faces from the sudden wind and noise. Mothers pulled children closer. Security guards reached for radios. But Razor's crew wasn't there for chaos. They were there for justice. Bulldog, take the north exit. Snake, cover the east. Razor barked into his phone, watching through the glass doors as the man dragged the girl toward a silver sedan parked near the handicap spots. His brothers moved like a well-oiled machine, bikes positioning at every escape route. No words needed. They'd ridden together through worse. The man spotted them. His pace quickened. Panic replaced calculation in his movements. Razor kicked his Harley to life, the engine's growl drowning out everything else. The chase was on. The silver sedan fishtailed out of the parking lot, tires screaming against pavement. Razor twisted the throttle, his Harley lunging forward like a predator. Behind him, 9 more engines roared in formation, a wall of chrome and leather tearing through DC traffic. The abductor ran a red light. Horns blared. A taxi swerved, narrowly missing his bumper. Razor didn't hesitate. He shot through the intersection, his crew flanking both sides of the street. Snake cut through an alley, emerging 2 blocks ahead. Bulldog rode the center line, forcing cars aside. The sedan swerved onto Constitution Avenue, weaving between vehicles. Inside, Razor could see the girl's small silhouette in the back seat. His hands tightened on the handlebars. Don't lose him, he shouted into his helmet comm. The man accelerated, desperation making him reckless. But desperation was no match for brotherhood. The sedan skidded into a narrow alley behind an abandoned warehouse, a desperate attempt to shake the pursuit. Bad move. Razor signaled with his fist and his crew split. 5 bikes blocking the alley's entrance, 5 circling to cut off the rear exit. The trap was set. The engine died. Silence crashed down like a hammer. Through the dusty windshield, Razor saw the man's eyes dart wildly, searching for escape routes that didn't exist. The girl sat motionless in the back seat, her pink dress a splash of innocence against the decay surrounding them. Razor dismounted slowly, deliberately. Too fast, and the man might panic, might hurt her. "Nowhere to go," Razor called out, his voice echoing off brick walls. The car door creaked open. The man stepped out, and Razor saw the knife glinting in his hand. Everything crystallized into a single, razor-sharp moment. "She's my daughter," the man shouted, blade trembling in his grip. "You got no right. Liar." Razor's voice was ice. "Fathers don't leave bruises shaped like fingerprints." The girl's wrist bore the evidence, purple and angry even from 15 feet away. The man's eyes flickered, calculation, fear, rage cycling through in seconds. "You don't know what you're talking about, biker trash. Walk away before." "Before what?" Bulldog growled, stepping forward. Snake circled left. The other bikers tightened the ring, boots crunching on broken glass. The man lurched backward, grabbing the car door. "I'll hurt her. I swear I'll." Razor moved. Not recklessly. Not with the flashy bravado people expected from outlaws. But with the precision of someone who'd lost too much to lose again. His boot connected with the man's wrist. The knife clattered away. And then his brothers were on him. The man hit the pavement hard, Bulldog's knee pressing into his spine while Snake zip-tied his wrists. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had finally called the cops. But Razor wasn't focused on the arrest. He moved to the sedan's back door, opening it slowly so he wouldn't startle her. The little girl sat pressed against the opposite door, eyes wide with terror that hadn't yet recognized safety. "Hey," Razor said softly, crouching to her level. His massive frame suddenly seemed gentle, unthreatening. "You're okay now. Nobody's gonna hurt you." She stared at him, at the tattoos, the leather, the skull patch on his vest. Then her eyes found his, and something shifted. You saw me," she whispered. "Yeah, kid. I saw you." Her lip trembled. Then she launched herself forward, small arms wrapping around his neck like a lifeline. Razor held her while she sobbed. The police took statements. Paramedics checked Lily for injuries. But when her mother arrived, a woman who'd been searching frantically for 3 days, time seemed to stop. "Lily." The scream was primal, a mother's worst nightmare ending. The girl broke free from the paramedics' gentle examination and ran. Mother and daughter collided in an embrace that made even the hardened cops look away, blinking hard. "Thank you," the mother sobbed, turning to Razor. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." She grabbed his hand, squeezing it like a prayer. Razor nodded, unable to speak past the boulder lodged in his throat. He thought of his sister. Of the reunion that never came. Of the empty chair at every family dinner for 20 years. But Lily looked back at him and smiled, genuinely smiled for the first time. And something in Razor's chest, something he thought had died long ago, flickered back to life. Maybe redemption looked like this. Back at the clubhouse, the crew raised beers in silence. No boasting, no war stories. Just 10 men who'd done something that mattered. "Not bad for a Sunday ride," Snake finally said, breaking the quiet. Bulldog grinned. Better than the usual bar fights. But Razor sat apart, staring at his phone. Lily's mother had sent a photo. Lily asleep in her own bed, safe, clutching a stuffed bear. "You good, brother?" Bulldog asked. Razor looked up at his crew. Men society had written off as criminals, outlaws, throwaways. Yet today they'd been heroes. Not despite who they were, but because of it. "Yeah," he said finally. "I'm good." Viewers, if this story moved you, don't just scroll past. Hit subscribe, not for us, but because stories like this remind us that heroism wears many faces. Sometimes it wears leather. Razor knew one truth now. He'd never stop looking. Never stop noticing. Because somewhere out there, another child might need someone to see them.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.